And so today is Monday the 26th of July. It's 9:25 and today I go home back to the northeast. All good things must come to an end. I've had a fabulous holiday down here. So going home today, it's very straightforward. I'm going to getting the 12:30 LNER to take us back up to Durham, due at the 3:25. And thankfully there's a Transpennine that's due at 5 to 4, so rather than carry my case at Durham City, I'll just wait half an hour for the 15:55 Transpennine Newcastle service. So all in all, I should be home somewhere around 4:15 this afternoon. Before I get on the train, because I've got a little bit of time, I think I might do an extra spotting session at King's Cross station. I'm going to go and catch a couple of tube trains, and then that will finish at me here in London. Now I'm going to enjoy the journey going home. And so I'm coming down to Bayswater Road for the last time. I'm going to catch my tube from Queensway and then catch the Victoria line up to King's Cross. The Victoria line is actually a line I didn't really do much of this week, during the last week or so. Tell you one thing though, I'm going to get rid of this luggage case when I get in, because one wheel on it is broken and it's pretty much scraping on the ground. Notice that bus company there, London United. It's actually run by the RATP group of Paris, that run the Paris Metro and the RER and all that.
This is a Central Line train to Newbury Park. No step-free access.
Okay, and before I go home, I've signed in at King's Cross Station for one more spotting session in London, my favourite London terminal. And just before I came over here, I stopped by St Pancras, had a little catch up with the darling of the south, Leanne Faden, an absolutely wonderful lass. Leanne, you're a superstar, and we all us rail enthusiasts, we all love you to bits. And one more bonus before I go home. 91111. Only a few of these still in operation with LNER. And this one is for the fallen. Yeah, I do miss the old days of travelling here from Durham on the 225s. But I do like the new LNER Zoomers as well. And next to it we have a Thameslink Class 700, which is actually pulled up in front of a Grand Central Class 180. Right, 11:15. I'm going to finish it now. That concludes my London spotting, and it has been an absolute incredible success. Every single bit terminal done, except Blackfriars, which I decided which I didn't want to do. So we've got two. They've got an 800 and an 801 over there. My train is 12:30 to Durham, and then onto a Transpennine back to Chester Street. I'm going to go and sign out, a couple of things to do, and then back to the northeast. And of course, just before I go, here is platform 9 3/4 from the Harry Potter films.
Even though I'm paying, I know we're actually moving.
And off I go.
That's why you can see the. No, I pay you what? The other train section. So it looks like one. You know.
No, we're moving around.
No, I can feel it. Look. Oh, look, I see the train's going. We're both moving.
We're both moving. Yeah.
We're done. See it, look.
We're moving.
You can feel it. It's not stable. Thank you. The Nina Wi-Fi. I tried that already too. It didn't work for 2 minutes.
Why?
It's loading. Let me Did you watch Loki?
No, I didn't watch it.
I don't know what is that.
It's not working. Mama, it's not working. It's not working.
No, we should do my copy.
Good afternoon and welcome back to this 12:30 Avenue 722 but we'll be the service now called Peterborough, Newark, Northgate, Doncaster, York, Northampton, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle, scheduled track to Edinburgh at 17. Passengers, please ensure that luggage is stored in the rental slides and keep it stored and they will be clear. Note more clearly that your luggage is safe and secure. If you see something that doesn't apply to you, any member of the onboard crew, transport police on 6101.
Can you do that?
If the information has been displayed in the views for your attention, CCTV in operation 12.
I tried that.
Got travelling in on 5 electronic
Can you get
phone calls should be made in the next few
I know, but they don't.
David will be 2 minutes
But I think you can do that one.
about the onboard crew can be any assistance. Please don't hesitate to ask.
I don't have the blue bag.
The one that says Daniel on it.
Mom, where's the blue bag? You have it? No, we didn't leave it. I was doing my house.
You think it's
There's a lot of people.
should I go check? Brian, should I go down there and check if it's there?
Maybe.
Yeah, okay. No, it's fine. Okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh.
Brian, it's underneath your chair.
What?
The bag.
The blue bag?
Yeah, it's under your chair.
It's here. Don't worry. Esau's hiding it. It's here.
It's under the chair, right?
It's under my chair.
Yeah,
Blue bag,
he was under the
Esau's
chair.
hiding it. It's under my chair. Can you give me my shirt?
Put them all up.
I remember. We watched this movie. We watched this cinema twice. It's mad. You know what you see in it? We need to. Only I was.
It's not gonna be different. It's the one in front of me.
to Edinburgh Waverley. We will call at Doncaster, York, Northallerton, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle and Edinburgh Waverley. The next station will be Doncaster.
CCTV is in operation on this service for your safety and security. If you see something that doesn't look right, speak to our onboard team or text.
Thank you for travelling with LNER. Hello, and welcome on board this LNER Azuma to Edinburgh Waverley. we will call at York, Northallerton, Darlington, Durham, Newcastle, and Edinburgh Waverley.
Ow!
Hello, and welcome on board this LNER Azuma to Edinburgh Waverley.
Seeing bits of Durham I recognise. Durham Cathedral and see. Well, I can see it now. Coming across the viaduct. I get off here and I've got half an hour wait for a Transpennine because I did not want to take my case down North Road, down there. Right, back in Durham, it's now 4:45. I've met up with my mate, Bazza. Do you want to go on camera? I'm okay. Yeah, you're okay. Right. Bazza Houston, who's just walking with us. And just when I thought I was home free, unfortunately, I've just had a little spanner in the works thrown.
Not mention anything.
No, I'll see. I was with it on the 5 to 4 Transpennine in Cheshire Street, but it's just been cancelled. Something has happened at Croxdale Viaduct, just south of here. I don't really want to say what it is, but I've just getting through that. Literally, it's something to do with the next train behind it, that's something that's happened. I'm just getting here just in time. So I've had pretty much a lucky escape. Every time I come back from a holiday, there's always going to be a spanner in the works. So, therefore, onto the bus that I go, I'll be jumping on the 21, or the X21, back to Cheshire Street. So, just for a one-off, jumping on a right Pulsar 2 to take us back to Chesney Street. It's on the X12 to Newcastle. Just coming past County Hall, seeing bits of Durham I recognise now. And we're just passing a very strange place name called Pity Me, and onto the A167. And look where I am, Chesterley Street. And so, back in my own room now, and it is nowhere near as hot as what it was in my hotel. Anyway, I have had an absolutely fabulous holiday indeed. I've been to lots of places. I'm not going through the report day by day, but I'll try and shorten it down a bit. So, London for a week. Instead of going abroad, that's where I went for my holiday. A bit different than Paris. Obviously Paris city I didn't really know much about, like, well, okay, I knew quite a bit of Paris, but like the places around in France I didn't really know like about and that, but at least London, because it's a place more familiar to us, so I got a chance to see more of it than what I did in 2010. So journey going down was an LNER Azuma, well I got a Nova 1 Transpennine and then an LNER Azuma, so I'm finally clocking up the mileage on them trains. But getting down was a bit different. The train went via Hertford East, or Hertford, no, because and then towards Palmer's Green, because there were overhead wires. There were problems at Hadley Wood. So when I got to London it was red hot. Me Oyster, me season ticket 7-day, cost it £35 for zones 1 and 2, which is what I wanted. Me hotel should have been Royal Eagle, but I was moved to Central Park in Bayswater because of the COVID. The room was fine. It had a little fridge in it, you know, my own shower, but unfortunately it was quite hot in it. No air conditioning. And the heat wave I had down there didn't really help matters either. So through the week, videoed every London terminal. That was the goal. Well, okay, I didn't do Black Fridays because I just chose not to. Wasn't really interested, but the goal was to video every single one of the big London terminals, and it was an absolute success. I did every single one this time without a problem. Did extra sessions at Victoria, Paddington and King's Cross stations. The only station I was quite a bit nervy about was Fenchurch Street. We'd been C2C managed. I didn't know if they would let us on or not, because a few have been rejected there before, but thankfully these ones, they actually let us on. So I saw all sorts of trains of different shapes and sizes, different tractions, overhead, diesel and third rail as well. Went to many parts of London, saw attractions like Big Ben, Westminster, South Bank, Buckingham Palace, Piccadilly Circus, Trafalgar Square, Leicester Square, Oxford Street. Went to Soho. Soho was really busy on a Saturday night. To see London so lively, it just never felt so good. The good times never felt so good. I went on the London Eye and the Thames Cruise. Really hot that day it was. I also went in the London Transport Museum. I really waited a long time to go in there, and finally I did. And the Transport Museum was brilliant to show you the history of London transport from like the 1800s right up to the modern day. And a few evenings I was doing some nice walks around the streets of London. In wet days, you know, you would use the tube a lot. If I was on a day out, I'd be using the tube all the time, made to be. But no, because I had more time and the weather was lovely, I was able to do more walks. So whether it was walking from Trafalgar Square all the way to Waterloo via Whitehall, past Downing Street and Westminster, that was good. And then along the South Bank, I did one walk where I went from Victoria up to Covent Garden, so via Buckingham Palace and the Mall, and like Trafalgar Square, Piccadilly Circus. That was another good, and Leicester Square, that was a good walk indeed. Hyde Park was lovely as well. I really liked looking at the Serpentine. At least places like that where you can get away from the hustle and bustle of the capital, still in Zone 1, and just chill out there. I went through Kensington Gardens as well. My hotel was just off Bayswater Road, just across the road from Kensington Gardens and Kensington Palace. So that was all London. I had an amazing time walking across Tower Bridge and other places. There was also other places I went to, not just London. Bournemouth, brilliant seaside resort, lovely beach, lovely sea. Station was good. It's got one of the longest platforms in the country. That and alongside Gloucester and Colchester and that. No trouble with South Western Railway. They were good there. So cross-country trains like running double length. There was a lot of trains wherever I go. A lot of them were running double length that time. I found to give just more space, like for passengers. Brighton was brilliant. I went on the beach, on the pier, and also the British Airways I-360 goes up and it comes down. Station was good. So Southern's 313s, they're still running. Yes, I saw like Thames Lane 700, saw the 377s. They're actually running Gatwick Express trains too from Victoria down to Brighton. I got one of them down to Brighton there and one coming back up. It's a nice beach, but not as nice as Bournemouth. Oh, and by the way, at Bournemouth, thank you very much to James Richardson and Alexandra Reynolds, who looked after us all day. Without them, I think I might have been a little lonely. And we all sat on the beach together. A lot of banter and just some good times were made. So thank you very much. You two were amazing. Now, one of the resorts I went to after I went to the City of London on Friday was Southend-on-Sea. My first trip into Essex. It was a nice resort, lots of amusements. Had the Adventure Island there, and the world's longest pier, 1.5 miles long. Now, trains-wise, I got the C2C from Fenchurch straight up there. I only did 1 or 2 shots at Central because I wasn't really too bothered. But Southend Victoria Station I think only there is really had the little stair, little like run-in. I asked at the ticket barrier, they let us through, went down one platform, and I think it was a supervisor. I think he did give us a little telling off. He wasn't a job's worth, but he was quite firm. He told us to come back up and go on the other platform. I think that's one station where they are a little bit strict, so if you go to Southend Victoria Station, just be a little careful there. I just did a couple of shots and then just decided just to get out because I didn't want to risk any more problems with like Greater Anglia and that. Coming back down from Southend that day was a bit tricky. Got to Barking and there was a train blocked at West Ham, so I had to took the tube train to get back into London that night. Like down to I got one down to Bow Street and then Bow Street up to Euston. Still thinking through other places I went. Baker Street was one place I went to. That's known for Sherlock Holmes. I went to nice Weatherspoons there called the Metropolitan. And then one other station I went to, I only went to the station but not the town, was Reading. The newly built Reading station. Well, it'd been like that since 2014 and then the wires added. I'd not been to Reading since 2010 and that is an impressive station that I would definitely go back to Reading again. £14 return it was for me and it's only 20-something minutes along the line. So all in all, my holiday in London was absolutely fantastic. If anything could be improved, just maybe in the hotel, if it just had aircon, it would have been even more better. I had no trouble on the tube or on the stations. Obviously the stations I do get checked by security and that. But all in all I had a fantastic time. And then coming home today, an extra session at King's Cross, met up with the lovely Leanne Faden. Lovely lass indeed. And will always help anyone. If you've got a problem or anything, if you're stuck on the trains or anything, she'll always be there. Would always help you. She's a lovely lass indeed. And then coming home was interesting. Got that 12:30 from King's Cross back up to Durham. Got back at Durham 3:20. Now as soon as I got off, that train went and then all the rest of the trains after that were cancelled. There's something happened at Croxdale Viaduct, just south of Durham. I don't really want to say what it was. So I just then met up and got the bus back to here. Met up with one of my mates, Bazza Houston, a bus enthusiast. So all in all, my whole London holiday was an absolute success. The stations, the tourist attractions, everything. The weather, okay, it did rain on the Sunday. Oh, and on the see, I'm still thinking of places I went to. On the Sunday, I went up to St John's Wood. I went and visited Abbey Road, which is where the famous zebra crossing is, known for the Beatles. Well, that's the end of this holiday. I do have another holiday coming up in September, but I probably might not do any video diaries or anything because it's a caravan holiday that me and my mum is having, and we're going down to South Wales in September. I don't know when I'll be out on the trains next. I've got a hell of a lot of work to do now, getting all this edited. By the time you see this, me doing this outro, it could be later in the year when you see it. But anyway, thank you for watching this and all the other parts, and I will see yous around one day soon. Goodbye.